gate each other, 4-gate each other, there's been proxy stargates, there's been DTs. We have seen so much aggression lately. Am I being silly? There we go. No, I wasn't being silly. For some reason my my buttons were stuck or something. That's a little bit weird. Alright though, we are in game. We've been seeing PvP be very aggressive lately, so let's have a little bit of a look to see what's going to happen. Now to the top right hand side, our red Protoss player. This is DnS. And he's going up against the blue Protoss player in the bottom left hand side of the map, Creator. Alright, so we're going to see a couple of simulators coming down here for Creator, and we are going to see probes just mining away here in these early stages. So setting up into this, getting this ready to go, we are going to be having the gateway from Creator popping up in the next couple of moments. And obviously a second gateway too, is the way that PvPs generally tend to go in the early stages. There's no real reason to kind of set up the single gateway unless you have an in-base expand. It just isn't really possible to hold on with a single gateway, so double gate is the way forwards in PvP, and it does give you a lot of options moving on. You can be aggressive, you can one-base it, you can tech quicker and then expand a bit later. You can expand pretty quickly off of the two gateways as well. So we'll see just how these players will approach this this time around. As you see, these couple of gates are going to be finishing up shortly. And we wait to see what the first units out are going to be, as the Cybernetics Core will also be finishing up in the next few moments. So Cybernetics Core will finish up here. A couple of Stalkers on the way out from Creator. A Stalker Sentry from DnS. And you do see Warp Gate from both players as well right away. It's not delaying for any sort of further tech or anything. The Stalker Sentry generally says, I want to expand a bit faster, tech a little bit slower, because you're throwing a lot more gas into the Sentry than you are with a second Stalker, for example. So Creator is the one that looks as though he might tech a bit sooner. With Double Stalker, we generally see a lot of Twilight Council players or Robos. Stargate comes through now, which means we probably see a couple of Adepts as a follow-up. And there are the two Adepts now. So the two Stalkers to push back a probe initially, then the two Adepts coming out. They'll look to try and dive in towards mineral lines in these early stages. This probe gets some good info, gets to see the Sentry does go down, and it's actually going to be the Stargate out of DnS as well. So it's Stargate versus Stargate in our first game of the day, and that always creates some very interesting scenarios, because with Stargate versus Stargate, you're almost always in this position where you end up going Phoenix versus Phoenix. But it's so possible for one player to get a very early lead anyways. If one player comes through and starts producing a Phoenix and the other makes an Oracle, the Oracle player is going to lose that Oracle so quickly without getting much done, that then the Phoenix count of your opponent is 1 or 2 ahead, and that actually can make the difference in a game. Like having one more Phoenix than the opponent, it's crazy how much it can do to really kind of turn the tide of battle. As we do see these couple of Adepts, couple of Stalkers moving forwards. The Stalkers of DnS just backing away here in towards the natural expand. As the two Adepts are going to try and shade up, but there's a blockade there, and there's just a hallucination actually from DnS. Now he's going to make an Oracle first as well. So in this scenario, obviously this is a little bit better for Creator, because now it's an Oracle versus Oracle. This hallucination is so vital, because seeing the Stargate means instead of a second Oracle, he will be able to make a Phoenix. So he will have a response to this. And as he sees that Stargate, he should start to build the Phoenix. And, well, meanwhile, I actually see a robot from Creator. I wonder if they're just not going to see each other's Stargates for so long here that we actually see, in a very strange sort of way, the Sentry is definitely not meant to be here right now. I wonder if we've seen a strange sort of way, like the lack of Phoenix versus Phoenix, because the Stargates got seen so late that maybe it's too late to commit. I mean, you already see a Twilight Cancel from Creator. Did he just cancel the Robo? Yes, he did. So he's going to go into this here. Now, he doesn't actually have himself a shield battery to defend with. He didn't think he needed it, so 5 workers going down. He gets 6, and that will be it. But 6 workers going down when he killed only 1 or 2 and a Sentry. It's definitely a worker lead for DnS moving forwards, and now he's got the Phoenix coming out to shut down this Oracle, so it just has to commit to this fight. Stasis Ward will not finish. The Phoenix kills it in time. Meanwhile, 2 Adepts are still trying to shade on through every now and then, but the pylon being built, that probe staying in position, getting the job done, doing exactly what it needs to. Those Adepts are continually being denied access. So these Adepts denied access time after time after time right now, as we are going to be seeing the Stargate of DnS, a second one on the way up in the main. Now this is a little bit scary though, because if he goes up into a massive Phoenix and his opponent is going towards Blink, can these Phoenix really fight forever? You know, is he just expecting this to be Phoenix of his opponent? Well, definitely could be, right? I mean, he's seen a Stargate, but Creator's actually just going to transition out of this now. He's going to start up a Forge. He never really got involved with his own Phoenix count. And so, the issue with Phoenix, the reason you see Phoenix versus Phoenix is that you see this sort of kind of, you start committing to Phoenix, and once you start committing, it's very hard to stop, because then you're just going to be behind because you lose the air war, you lose the ground fight. But if you don't ever commit to the Phoenix in the first place, then all of a sudden, you can take out of this a little bit more easily. So we'll see how this goes. Obviously, the Stalkers here for now are good. The Adepts killed 4 pros, but most importantly, I think, they got to see the Forge, they got to see the Twilight Council. So getting that scout is very, very important for him, as we are going to be seeing this Phoenix on the way. And obviously, DnS at this point, he did get 2 Stargates up, but he's just going to spread his Phoenix out, harass with them a bit. He's going to tech up here himself. A robot facility and a Forge coming down. The second Stargate is a shame, because he's not really going to get much use out of that investment. But he can still use the Phoenix to harass around and to maintain a worker lead as he goes up in towards free bases here, most likely in the near future. And talking about free bases, actually Creator has already dropped down this third Nexus off over to the left-hand side. So another Nexus over here already. As we do see the extra gateways on the way up, the Blink is just about to finish. Will make life a lot easier for Creator turning away those Phoenix. I mean, from DnS, we're not going to see Blink. This is a much later Twilight Council, and we're already heading towards a mid-game scenario, in which case it's going to be much more important for him to have something like a charge upgrade coming through. And that is going to be what Creator starts now as his Blink finishes. The Stalkers are great earlier in the game, but they definitely fall off as the game continues, which is why, obviously, we're not going to suddenly see, Stalker production and, Blink on the way from DnS. As he comes in, he's continuing to get some workers here and there. Oh, that Phoenix, he knows how to live on the edge of life. 2 health as he runs on away, just escaping the wrath of those Stalkers. A more gates on the way up, actually. Let's have a look at the gateway count here quickly. 2, 3, so it's actually 6 gates going up against about to be 4. So it's definitely a gateway advantage to Creator. Ooh, he's finding a lot of these Phoenix. It's a shame from DnS. Actually, only one of them lost. I thought this Phoenix Cloud looked a little bit bigger before. Well, he's going to be able to keep them alive then. It was the lower health one that went down, so it wasn't the biggest loss in the world. It was already very vulnerable and fragile. Again, that third Nexus on the way up right now from DnS is about halfway done. A couple of Adepts still shading forwards to see what they can do, as a couple of them actually get lifted up. One will get in towards this mineral line then, but it'll just find one worker. I was wondering if that worker's going to start pulling away in time to keep itself safe. So the Adepts go down, and we are just going to be seeing the Emerald production continuing along here right now from DnS. There's a Temple Archives from Creator as well, so he can set up into his Archons. Again, so many Stalkers for him at the moment. And a bit of a faster +1 means his +2 is a little bit faster as well. So the upgrade lead in Creator's favor if the fight does break out when he has that upgrade advantage. That's definitely something that can come into play, and you can see he's Chrono Boosting +2, so trying to hit with +2 could definitely be a thing for him here. 4 more High Templar currently warping in. A couple of Archons just straight on the way up, obviously not expecting them to remain alive and build up energy for storms in PvP. That really would be something, wouldn't it? That would be a completely new way to play the game. And again, +2 is so far along here from Creator. It was just a little bit slow to start from DnS as well. Now he starts it, he does Chrono Boost it right away. So that Chrono Boost coming down, as we are going to see the hallucination continuing towards the upper right hand side. A few of these probes coming back down to the low ground, and again just this hallucination going to get taken down as the stasis ward gets set up. Defensive setups here from Creator. Just making use of the Oracle where you can. He can't really use it aggressively anymore, so using it defensively. Why not? I mean, he doesn't necessarily need to defend right now, but just in case. I mean, even if it's just a run by our Zealots that run on through, suddenly they get caught, you may as well use that energy for something. I mean, the Oracle, again, it's not going to do much else. You don't really need a Revelation as well. Protoss armies like this are kind of clunky, so it's kind of easy to keep track of where they are, so Revelations aren't as required, I would say. I'd say maybe PvT, where you're going to try and keep up to date with a Terran army that's always moving around the map, always looking to maybe suddenly lift up and to drop around as well. You're going to see this Oracle taking some damage to Phoenix as a Blink comes in, gets shut down too. Another pylon just finishes up to the side. We are going to be seeing another couple of High Templar also continue to come on into play. A few probes just going down here and then. We are going to be seeing the Zealot Stalkers, Archons, all of this moves in towards the middle of the map. Prism's still moving around a little bit as well. So obviously with the Prism you can get aggressive here as creator. As we do have the Zealot just up to the top side. DnS just going up to 4th base as creator will as well. And pretty evenly matched so far in that regard. Interesting that creator now goes for a +1 armor upgrade rather than another attack upgrade. That is a little bit intriguing. As we have the Nexus continue to come on up. But a lot of Stalkers pull around this right hand side here. So they are going to be coming on through. Now just going to be having the a little bit of a push around. Creator's backing away from him. Sorry guys, I just need a moment just to quickly message Keen because Nurture is here, and so this game can start. The benefits, or the not the benefits, but the trials of having to admin while casting. Sometimes you just get a little bit distracted. Alright, well this fight is about to break out then as we took a moment or two just to get that Nurture Keen game getting set up and ready to roll. Kratos splits off in a couple of different directions. Love this. Across the map, some Zealot run-bys are getting something done. Killing 6 workers. DnS is trying to push up this ramp, but he just can't do it just yet. The +1 armor will finish sooner than the +3 attack because it's an earlier upgrade. It takes less time to build. And Kratos coming in from 2 different angles, so the Zealots will end up flanking quite heavily here. Now Kratos still has a lot of these Stalkers in his army, and I'm not sure how much they're really going to add to this. DnS with the warp in now as well. A few more Zealots coming on through. Does he have enough to hold on? Does he have enough to defend this? You're going to be seeing these units continue to defend right now. Oh, it's going to be tough, and I think Creator might just have this. That small +1 armor upgrade just helping him to push on through a little bit here and there as well. Creator also has the money in the bank to continue on with, and that's making a little bit of a difference here too. As we are going to see a few more Zards just warping in, pushing forwards, and we are going to have the GG coming down. DnS taps out again. One to give it right now. As we kick this off, let's see if he can keep that lead or if DnS can tie it up. One apiece. To the top right hand side, the blue Protoss player. This, my friends, is Creator. He is going up against the red Protoss player to the bottom left hand side of the map, DnS, representing Cascade. Creator represents Jin Air Greenwings in terms of teams and who is playing who right now. It's cool that a lot of these players do still have teams. I mean, we had this sort of phase where a lot of players were teamless, and that's still a good amount of teams and a good amount of support actually. I mean, obviously Korea suffered quite a bit, but a lot of Koreans, for example, Keen, who's about to play Nurture, you know, a lot of those guys sort of, you know, jumping on teams. For example, Team Revolution taking on Keen. It's cool to see. Alright, well, we are setting up here and looking to see what will happen in game number 2. Obviously, early we expect pretty much the same opening for the double gates and the Cybercore. When that Cybercore is set up, obviously that's when the decisions really get to be made as to just what do you build. You know, do you go into the double Stalker, the Stalker Sentry, the double Adept? And those first few gateway units are always just such a great telltale sign as to what on earth is going to be coming on out of the players as a follow-up. And again, it's an interesting first game. Creator, I think, got a bit of an edge. Even though DnS came in and killed some workers, the investment into that second Stargate is quite a heavy one. You know, that's a lot of money. And the Phoenix as well, I feel he invested into those and he never really found value from them. He never really got much out of it. So I think that's where it went wrong for DnS. He built a second Stargate, he built a bunch of Phoenix, and they just did nothing. Like a handful. I think one time he killed like 4 workers, and that was about it. And Phoenix need to do so much more, because if your opponents, you know, okay, I guess the Blink didn't do much, but at least Creator Stalkers joined in the fight quite significantly. So imagine those Phoenix were consistently on the map, consistently picking off probes. Maybe that makes the defense happen, because for a long time that fight was actually very close. That's the sort of thing you need to do something with, because I mean, also building that second Stargate and the Phoenix led to DnS in this position where he didn't have the +1 or so early, his Forge was later, you know, and other little bits and pieces like that. Those are the sort of advantages which fall apart a little bit as we see Wargate on the way up on each side of the map right now. We see a couple of sentries from DnS on the way out, a couple of stalkers from Creator. We get set up into this as these couple of depths continue to move on over. They're going to chase down, hunt down this little probe. This probe gets shot down nice and quickly. I mean, that's always a nice cleanup. As, again, it is pretty much the two most opposite kind of setups we can see here. Created with the double adept, double stalker into double sentry from DnS is obviously, again, a faster expansion. But this is interesting from Creator, a third gateway. And look at that. DnS finds himself the probe. That slows down this gateway push, which is almost certainly going to be coming here from Creator. DnS playing very defensively right now, but he's going to need a shield battery or two on the low ground if he really wants to hold this off, if he really wants to be serious about defending this. These two stalkers have to be careful as well, because right now Creator is leading these stalkers off and away on a journey which is not going to benefit him in the long term. He sees two more stalkers as well, and maybe time to think about that shield battery quite genuinely on the low ground now. One stalker's going to go down, a sentry's coming down the ramp as well. I mean, there's some worlds in which maybe you can kind of give up the base as DnS. Oh, this is a bit of an awkward fight. He does pop Guardian Shield, which allows them to bring the sentry forward to kind of help out with this. Oh, the force field actually traps a couple of stalkers here. That's going to turn the fight around a little bit too. This is actually a really weird fight at the moment, as we are going to be seeing the stalkers get taken down. That was quite something between the two of them right there. Well, now 2 sentries and 3 stalkers. DnS has warp-ins very soon once more as well. 5 stalkers warp up this ramp, and DnS will see what's going on. He force fields behind those stalkers. That's actually not a bad thing right now for Creator, because he didn't really want to back away. He wanted to jump into this. A few probes coming in. DnS has the faster expansion, so a couple of probes going down is very manageable for him, but he's losing out on the stalker count. He's getting his warp-ins now, but so is Creator. And as Creator gets the next couple of warp-ins, DnS is going to struggle to really push this back without some stellar micro. We're talking about 3 stalkers against, what, like 5 again? And he's going to lose one of these, at least 2 maybe, even going up this round. He's running and running and running. He's got an Immortal about to pop, and that is a game changer right now, because against this number of stalkers, an Immortal will not go down. It tanks so much damage, it continues to pump out damage as well. It really does just get the job done. It's coming across here. A couple of shots onto that pylon. Creator is held off, and DnS, well, he did a good job in the end. He did what he had to do. Yes, he had the more losses early, but he has had the extra income early in the game as well. Creator now setting up onto his own natural expansion. The one big thing from him is he is getting Blink, so he will continue to be aggressive with the stalkers, while DnS will continue to focus on Immortal production. And again, similar to that last game, he's probably going to have a later Twilight Council to then go into the charge right away, rather than messing around with Blink at any stage. And that's obviously going to make things interesting. I like the Warp Prism, by the way. That's also a cool little something that can allow for DnS to get on the map and be aggressive in a scenario where usually he's not the player that's meant to be the aggressor. So I do like this, but he's going to have to be so careful. With stalkers on the map and Blink coming up, that Warp Prism is just one slight movement away from being picked off and just shut down. With Immortals inside, obviously, that could be extremely deadly. Just these 2 Adepts still alive from Creator, that's just such a threat here. Continuing to shade forwards, it just forces DnS to have this probe here, to continue to make him pay attention to the front, and to just keep on having to just deal with that possibility of damage into a mineral line if he isn't careful. Now, Forge coming up, so DnS isn't looking to be overly aggressive with this attack, or the Warp Prism or whatever. As you do see, the couple of Adepts are actually going to commit now. DnS pulls his probes instantly, but will still lose 2, maybe even a 3rd one. Force field is good to keep them away, and that is going to be the Adepts going down. So probes back to mining. At the end of the day, it actually turns out kind of okay for DnS here. As you see, that force field is actually blocking a lot of those probes. Finally, they're able to get back to mining properly. And a couple of the simulators coming down. He actually let the shield battery finish, which was a mistake. He was meant to take that one down, so he'll cancel it after he uses it to block the Adept shades. Now the Adepts are gone, he doesn't worry about it so much else. As we do see Creator with the +1 attack, the charge upgrade, the extra gateways, and a 3rd Nexus on the gold. That is something he's created for himself. He's got map control here, and with the map control, he has been able to start getting something done. But no, now 2 Immortals across the map, they are getting some good damage done as well. I mean, 3 kills. Meanwhile, probes and stalkers are going to fight themselves over here, and wow, I mean, that's quite a little something there. As DnS will get back onto this Nexus. A few more stalkers coming over to deal with this. The Warp Prism puts itself into a safer location where it's going to be able to kind of lift up those Immortals and get away without a Blink becoming an issue. If he could get this gold base, that would be absolutely huge for him. As you can see, that first Immortal lifts up stalks from the south side though, and that is an issue. He's going to kill the gold, but it costs him 2 Immortals in the Prism. The flanking Stalkers of Creator there really making a difference. And now back at home, is there going to be a defense in position for DnS in time? Another Immortal starts up, he's got one out, but there's going to be a lot of Blink Stalkers, and so the ability to just blink on top of this Immortal is going to be absolutely insane. Another couple of Zealots just walking in here at the moment, pushing across the map. Creator's got so much power in this army, just because he has the blink, he can just kind of kite away for days and days and days. Although the first blinks aren't amazing. We'll use the hallucination now to kind of get up in towards the main base, potentially have a blink up here. And he's just going to start re-expanding on the gold in the meantime, by the way. There's that Immortal a little bit trapped because the blink just comes in, and he isn't able to do anything about it. DnS loses out on an Immortal, and, well, at least he gets a couple of Stalker kills out of this in the end, but it really is just a couple, so not trading well here. As those Stalkers continue to be pushed back, blinking on away, and that will be it for now. A few enemies just sat down the ramp, and just waiting to see what their next play will be. A few Zealots will warp in from Creator 2 on the natural expansion. And the third base of Creator, just the Nexus, about to finish up. So, Nexus is finishing. And we are just going to be having the +2 on each side of the map now on the way up. And a couple of gateways from DnS on the way through. So DnS has held on, but he's really behind when it comes to the gold base. I mean, not having a third is absolutely insane. But in terms of army composition, we're still just seeing pure gateway units out of Creator, and so a counterattack, it does have some potential, right? I mean, while the army supplies are even, the army quality of DnS is a lot better than the army quality of Creator. He's got a few more higher tech units, and that will go a long way. Even the Stalkers at this sort of stage are going to fall off in terms of value. Kiting away and blinking every now and then is nice and all, but that's pretty much the best part of these Stalkers at the moment. Nice 2 Archons on the way though from Creator, and with shield batteries coming up, I'm not sure if this is a fight DnS will be able to win. But I don't mind him pushing forward to check it out and to see if maybe he can do something. Because it does force defensive shield batteries, it does force Creator to think about how he takes this fight on. I wonder if we could see maybe a kind of a cool kind of loop around from DnS, come around this way, knock down these rocks or something, without Creator seeing it. If Creator's out of position, I think Creator's realizing it's a possibility as well. Brings a Stalker along, because again, if this army comes to the right hand side and then this army of Creator's on the wrong side of those rocks, that could be absolutely devastating. A couple of Zealots going to start going down here at the moment, and just going to come through, kill off that probe that was far forwards, looking for information. Third next is about to finish up from DnS. Creator actually isn't making probes right now, as he is saturated. His main base was over mining for a little while already. Oh, Creator's still on the wrong side of these rocks. DnS moves forwards. Does he just go straight up into the natural? He is going to come along to this side. Well, let's see how this fight's going to go. The Archon counts the same, the Immortal counts the same. So it's really about the Zealot numbers here, but DnS has +2 actually. The +2 can make a massive difference in this engagement. A few more Zealots warp in from DnS, obviously that's huge because he needs warp-ins as the fight goes by. Usually it's one of the defender's advantages, but having himself the warp prism is huge. And just the fact he has +2 is absolutely insane. Now he takes down the rocks, and there isn't a ton of units here from Creator, and so DnS will just waltz on up in towards the natural expansion. Creator realizes, okay, well, I'm going to lose a base. Time for me to do something to try and, counter here, but DnS, he has a recall. You kill this base as DnS and then you just recall home. That's a one fight for you, right? I mean, we're gonna kill a bunch of probes, then recall off. DnS doesn't know that this army's coming along though, so he's being very, very careful. He's just going to kill off a bunch of workers for now. Obviously, Creator can dive in a little bit more haphazardly because he knows that DnS is, not at home. He knows DnS's army's over here. DnS now realizes fully what's going on, so he'll move up this ramp and he will start to get the damage done. Shutting down production is going to be hugely important, and so you can see DnS chrono boosting his warp gates. And he's going to want to get up here into this main base and shut down these pylons powering the gateways. I wouldn't even kill the gateways right now. Just hit the pylons. Stop further warp-ins, because if your opponent gets a couple of warp-ins that you don't, that can just straight up be a game ender. And DnS does get a big warp-in right here to fight these Zealots. With the Archons, this is a better trade for him. So he is going to win out on this fight, and that's very important for him, because every single unit is going to matter right now in this base trade scenario. DnS lacks on supply, but only in terms of workers. And the worker count doesn't matter too much at all, because obviously they're not going to be mining for much longer here, and eventually these workers are going to be going down. These Stalkers are kiting away, by the way, and somehow this Archon and Zealot squad is still kind of moving forward to keep on fighting here. The shield batteries are drained of energy, so finally he's going to start winning out this fight. DnS is... they're going to have the exact same army supply, more or less here, right? I mean, within like a couple of supply. That's kind of crazy. You can see Creator still just trying to warp in a couple more units. DnS is still mining up here. He has probes he can get out onto the map. Those probes are going to be hugely important actually for him, because he needs to be able to build around. He does have the minerals to hide a Nexus for a very long time. something which his opponent doesn't have able to do. Love that little hidey position of the probe right there behind that wall. It's not easy to see unless, I mean, obviously the difference is creator will have health bars on, so you will be able to see it, as that's a recall home. DnS can hold a Nexus. Gold base is up as well. He recalls here and he starts to look for this fight. And remember, DnS does have the +2 attack advantage. There's a Warp Prism here though from Creator, and that's going to be a micro advantage. But the 5 Archons against 2, the Immortal against Immortal is even. And it's just the Archon count that's so much better for DnS as he pushes on in. And this army just keeps on getting pushed backwards. Creator does not have enough. And so DnS, as he pushes this army away, he just has to pull back and deal with that Stalk and keep his Nexus alive. He has got this one in the bag. GG. DnS ties it up 1-1 in this best of 5. Number 3. It's 1-1 between Creator and DnS, and we're jumping into Neon Violet Square to continue at the moment. To the top left-hand side of the map, our Red Protoss player is Creator. And to the bottom right-hand side, our Blue Protoss player, DnS. Tied up 1-1, a bit of a crazy scenario at the end of that last game, and it's not going to be pretty. I mean, people ask why didn't he fight the army, why didn't he recall? I mean, even if he had a recall available, I think you can't fight that army. I think that's his issue, because he doesn't have the upgrade. He's not in position, and if he recalls, he's going to be in the worst position to fight. So I don't think he can fight it, and at the very least, he's going to be losing the natural Nexus and an army if he recalls on that. If he recalls on the main, then DnS kills the natural, and he just goes to the gold base as well. Like, I just don't think you can win that there as Creator by fighting. I think going across the map was probably his best and only decision, even though it was kind of like not a good decision. And I mean, it did come close, right? It got close later on, but DnS still just had the army to fight it out in the end anyways, so it was a tough one. I mean, it's a tough one to call. Those kind of games always are kind of difficult to, you know, figure out what exactly you should do for the best. Anyways, we are just going to be seeing this probe coming up towards the upper side of the map, and we're just going to be having the scouting early game from both players on Neon Violet, as we are tied up 1-1. It is best of 5, of course. First of 3 maps will go through to the grand finals here today. Already top 4 have guaranteed themselves some prize money though, so that is something you guys can also support too through the Matcherino page, !Matcherino in the chat. And we haven't actually had a lot of support on the Matcherino page for this event beyond the coupon code, so if you guys are feeling generous, you want to help the players out, you can donate to the players via the Matcherino page and give them a little bit of extra thanks for playing in the event and showing us some fun StarCraft 2 over the last couple of weeks that we've had this event going on. It's been fun actually having this event, and it's been a lot of fun games. We had a couple qualifiers for group stages, and of course the playoffs here towards the end as well. We're hoping to be able to do some more of these moving into the future also. Again, we are renewing our kind of partnership with Sneak for the next month, and so there should be another invitational with Sneak as a sponsor, which would be absolutely awesome. Why have I just lost game sound? I just lost, I didn't have the music on, that's why it sounds so weird. Huh, interesting. Alright, well it is Stargate against Stargate again. This time DnS opens though with a fast Stargate and straight into the Phoenix. So maybe learning a little bit from earlier. Not going to risk it, just going to go straight for the Phoenix play. And it is going to be immediately Phoenix out of Creator as well. Did these guys see the Stargates of each other? No, but maybe they had a little bit of scouting to sort of figure that out, as we will see this Stargate now scouted by Creator. So he does know what's up, but he's already made the kind of important decision here, it feels like. A few Stalkers coming off over to the left-hand side, and they are going to be pushing in towards the natural expansion. It's actually 4 Stalkers against 3 here initially. He lifts one up as well. The shield battery is going to be unable to help that Stalker which is lifted. And so this is a huge fight going in favor currently of our Blue Protoss player. I mean, he hasn't lost anything yet. His Phoenix is going low, and now he does lose a Stalker. Turns around again. Shield battery drained of energy. DnS. Nice little push forwards here in these early stages. And again, a couple of people asking about Nurture Keen. It's underway. Game number 1 is 20 minutes in. They are just having a little bit of a back and forth mech versus Zerg game on Backwater. It's really back and forth as well. I would not like to pick a winner right now. There's been some good fights on both sides, but Keen is building Ravens. I would give Keen the slight edge, but I'm not watching closely enough to truly know. So I'll give you guys more updates from that as it comes in. But that is Keen versus Nurture in the round of 8 still ongoing while we cast this first semi-final match of the day. Phoenix poking forwards here, and DnS has to be a little bit careful for a moment or two. There's going to be seeing more Phoenix being made again. This time we're going to see that more generic sort of Phoenix versus Phoenix style, rather than create a transitioning away from the Stargate after a double Stargate opener. So obviously this is going to look very different again. Number one, a lot more what you'd kind of expect these games to look like. So let's see what happens here for DNS, as we do see these Phoenix are going to be coming along as well, and just actually finding themselves a couple of probes. I mean, this is so nice, because if you can just slow down the economy, obviously you start to get yourself into a bit of an advantage in the other bits and pieces of what's going on. So this is looking awesome so far from DNS. I mean, again, the first attack was great, but it's far from the end of the world for Creator, right? I mean, his Phoenix count is still good. It's 5 against 5. 2 Phoenix being built at a time from both players. They're both on 40-ish probes. Both of them are in this position to play onwards, and it just depends sort of what the next decisions are in terms of what's going to happen. As we do actually just see Keen has just taken game number 1 against Nurtio, guys. 19-20 minutes in game. He just won a big mech fight. I think the Ravens had a lot to do with it again. I'm not paying a lot of attention to the screen, but Keen takes game number 1 against Nurtio. Well, as we see a couple of Phoenix on the way up here from Creator, we're going to have a pylon, just the top side of the map. I'm going to see it. Just for a moment. Oh my god. Ooh. Couple of sneezes there. So yeah, we're going to keep on focusing on this PvP, of course, and again, I'll let you know if there's any other score updates on Keen Nurtio. Obviously, Backwater, pretty good map for mech, and Keen making it work for him there in that first game. Again, the winner of that will play against Thermal in the semi-finals, so we're guaranteed a non-mirror matchup set of games from here on out. Fully peeking on the way for both players. A bit faster here from Creator. If he can take a fight with the Fleet Beacon Anion Pulse Crystals upgrade versus no Anion Pulse Crystals, that's going to be insanely good for him for the Phoenix. So we'll have to keep an eye on that, as DNS just keeping his Phoenix in the back for now, not being aggressive with them. Creator bringing a couple of stalkers across the map. We are just going to be seeing the Anion Pulse Crystals. This is on the way up right now, so that's going to be coming through, coming up to being about halfway done, as the third Nexus of DNS is going to be on its way as well. So both players expanding. DNS just seems a little bit later on the bits and pieces, right? A little bit later on Anion Pulse Crystals, a little bit later on the third Nexus. And we are going to be seeing +1 air weapons on the way up on the Cybernex core. Third Stargate on the way from Creator 2, so continue to get set up here. I mean, it is just DNS on the kind of deficit in a lot of ways. I mean, he's coming across the map right now. What does he have? 15 against 13 Phoenix. He has a slight edge, but reinforcements should make up for that for Creator. So I'm not even sure what DNS can do coming across the map right now. He's just following a sentry. He's following the sentry, which is why these Phoenix are making the funny sound all the time. They sound like a swarm of bees. Bzz, 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 bzz. About to like swarm in and attack you. I guess sometimes Phoenix do feel like that. He's going to take the initial kind of start of this fight. Kind of interestingly. 17 and 15 Phoenix, he gets the first shots off, so again the Phoenix count is here, but then it's a kind of a shot in return from Creator. These Phoenix are going to have to back away through the middle of the map now, so they're going to back off down through the center. Another couple of probes coming in from DNS on the right hand side. We are just going to be seeing units gathering up and picking their way through this pylon initially. So Pylon taking some damage, and Creator is again gathering himself on the left-hand side of the map at the moment. All of these Phoenix gathering up, and a robo facility from DNS is on the way down. I mean, DNS is trying to transition, but all of the things are just going the way of Creator. I mean, he's going to have +1 air weapons, he's going to have +1 shields. Yes, DNS finally got himself up to the third Stargate, but he's missing so much more here right now. He's missing the upgrades and the kind of the little bits and pieces that are going to make these Phoenix more powerful, rather than just the straight-up numbers. It's a tough one. I'm intrigued to see what the Robo does. He makes an Observer, maybe because we see a mothership of his opponent. Having an Observer is necessary to keep on fighting the Phoenix. Well, obviously a bit of an interesting game here so far, because we have a little bit of a standoff. When either player wants to attack into the other, or anything like that, two Stalkers just gathering together, and just going to be seeing the Phoenix continuing to fly overhead now. Another sentry is coming out into play from DNS too. I mean, it's so interesting. He's spending gas on sentries and all sorts, but my god, is his Phoenix count going to suck a lot when he realizes he doesn't have +1 weapons or anything. He starts it now, but he's so late to get this +1 attack up. So late to get this +1 attack up. It's going to make this very interesting here. I mean, the Phoenix count still from Creator is looking good. DnS has a 4th Stargate, which is starting to give him the numbers. What's more important, the +1 or the numbers? Maybe the numbers. I'm actually not too sure. It's very rare you see someone kind of really invest that much more into the number of Phoenix rather than the upgrades of the Phoenix. And the reason for that is as well, you know, eventually you catch back up on numbers if you just play defensively for a while, whereas, you know, catching back up on upgrades can be very difficult to do. Although for now, it looks as though it will happen because there isn't any further upgrades from Creator starting. No +2 air weapons, his +1 shields obviously isn't done yet, so he hasn't had the chance to start a +2. No Stargate from DnS, I mean, continues onwards, guys. Unit count is so interesting. 2 sentries against 1, 37 to 28 Phoenix. And that Phoenix, I mean, you know what? If he hits with the +1 attack upgrade against +1, he just has this many Phoenix. DnS is going to have a wild time. He had the 4th base a little bit faster as well. You'll see here he's mined about 100 gas of each assimilator. And actually, Creator's about the same. I thought DnS was mining here just a little bit sooner, but apparently not. Apparently it's just a little bit of a slower play, as we actually see Creator going to dive in towards Carrier as well. That's going to be the transition then. Okay, we're heading in towards true good old Skytoss armies. Let's see what's going to happen. What's up, TLO, coming for the raid and the host? How you guys doing? Welcome to the stream. This is the WardiTV Invitational number 3. It's the semi-finals. We have DnS against Creator, and we have on the other side of the bracket Uthermal, still just waiting for the winner of Nurture and Keen, which is still ongoing. What on earth is this? This is like the biggest graphical mess I've seen. Phoenix following a sentry. Obviously, so the Phoenix don't get too far ahead of the ground units here, right? But it's just a little bit amusing to watch, you have to say. Revelation comes down. Tag is about half of the Phoenix here. So now Creator knows where those Phoenix are going to be. Just, does DnS know about like the carriers? I don't think he does. Can Phoenix fight against carriers? I don't think they can. And carriers are pretty freaking good, man. They're pretty good units. I don't know if you can fight this as DnS right now. He's getting his own mothership up. He's getting his 2nd Cybercore for more air upgrades. But I mean, really, what are you actually expecting to have happen here? I don't know if you can fight this. I really don't know if you can fight this right now. Well, let's see as we do get set up, and we are going to be seeing these Phoenix come back in towards the upper left-hand side. A few Stargates just on the way up, and just going to be seeing the mothership popping out from DnS as well. 3 more Stargates, and he's all in on this just straight-up Phoenix count. If we look at the numbers, he's got 50 Phoenix against 28, 5 carriers as well. I mean, those carriers could be huge. I'd love to see a Templar Archives from DnS, and a Twilight Council might be the start of that, because Archons are going to be amazing, especially against carriers. If you have Archons underneath Interceptors, they melt so quickly with the splash damage. It's actually somewhat amazing, honestly. So let's see how this goes. We do have the carriers and the Phoenix gathering up together. We can see he's actually killing off his Phoenix right now. As, by the way, very quickly, just as an update, guys, Nurture is taking game 2. Him and Keen are 1-1 in the round of 8. So yeah, DnS is actually still on Phoenix, and Creator is killing Phoenix to make carriers. I mean, what do you even say about that? And DnS, again, what has he seen lately? Nothing at all. He's got no idea that carriers are on the way. He flies on in over here, he's going to come in for a couple of kills, and now he's going to see the carriers, and he's going to be like, huh, that's interesting. The Revelation drops, and the Phoenix is going to dive on in, and they are going to get some good shots off. But again, I don't know if Creator really cares. What does DnS do? He gets himself an Oracle on the way up. He's sort of sat over here with the cannon. There isn't much on the ground to fight a cannon, actually, so he goes down, but very slowly. So we see this little bit of a back and forth, and we are going to see the Phoenix diving in, but there's the Interceptors, and that makes life so difficult to really commit into right now. So we're going to be seeing his mothership going down. DnS is just losing so much. The carriers are just so good here, and he's starting to kill the Interceptors, but the numbers... He's got so many Phoenix. I mean, the Interceptors got very low there. You know, he didn't have many Interceptors left. But that's the issue. I mean, you need to be able to kind of capitalize on that, and he couldn't capitalize on that, which is obviously the issue. And now, Carriers are pushing through the center. DnS started his own carriers for a moment, then probably realized that he just can't make that work, so he's now going to dive in instead with Phoenix again. A couple of Archons underneath from our Red Brothers player, Creator, definitely going to make a bit of a difference. There's the air upgrade advantage now in DNS's favor. The way things have turned in this game is kind of insane. The Interceptors keep on going crazy right here. A couple of sentries are trying to defend as well. This base is taking a bit of a beating as more Phoenix are coming up top. They're still trying to fight this, but I just don't think you do fight this. The carriers were just not something that DNS saw coming his way. Now, again, he has no choice but to build Phoenix. If he built carriers, they would take too long. They wouldn't actually be out to help. And DNS has just not got an answer. As we get this set up, we're going to be seeing a few probes continue to go down. And this army of DNS continue to gather on up together. A little bit of back and forth right now. A little bit of these players kind of dancing with each other still. Notice see that mothership gets taken down quite nicely. And you see again a few more Phoenix showing up as well. Just going to be seeing the little bit of a fight. See the Phoenix are going to continue going on along here. Just going to be seeing the fight continuing right now, and honestly Creator is in just this world of trouble where I don't think he can actually end up, sorry, not Creator, DnS is just in this world of trouble where I just don't think he's gonna ever really lose, be able to win this out. I mean, there's Archons, there's carriers, this game is just over. It just didn't happen. He just was completely unaware of the carriers for so long. And I wonder when he was first fighting with the Phoenix if he actually didn't see the carriers, because over here I thought he'd seen the carriers, but then he kind of just kept sticking around. He didn't start carriers at all. I just don't think he actually... What, do the live tournaments have a delay? Are they really live? I'm just going to answer that with the delay command. We're on a 2-minute stream delay usually for these tournaments. It's usually, I mean, nowadays some people or some tournaments don't use a delay, some of the online ones, because we trust the players a lot. We have a very trustworthy set of players, so yeah, we've been changing it up a little bit, but in general, it's a 2-minute delay or so. So not a massive delay. It's more or less live, basically. Just enough to kind of stop stream sniping, stream cheating. You know, just enough to stop, you know, seeing the Dark Shrine building if you're watching the stream or something, you know. Anyways, guys, let's kick off into game number 4. Welcome, everyone. As we do go to the bottom right-hand side, the Red Protoss player is Creator from Generic Green Wings. And at the top left, our Blue Protoss is DnS. Our FPS is a little bit low today. It doesn't want to be my friend, apparently. What is up, everyone? It's been such a week on the stream. We've had a crazy amount of love and support. We're approaching, what, I think, when we started this week, we're at like 240 subs. And we are now at 324, which is like insane growth. Again, that sub count back up to where it was a couple of months ago. But yeah, it's been an awesome week. Loads of followers, approaching 30,000 followers. We're almost 4 million views on the channel, which I think is insane to think about. That's like 4 million people have watched this channel at point. Well, not 4 million different people, but 4 million views is an insane number. It's really awesome just to keep the channel growing like this, guys. So thank you so much for all of the bits and pieces. As we do just set up into this 4th game of the PvP, though, we've kind of talked our way through the first 2 or 3 minutes. And it was going to be seeing the Twilight Council dropping down the top left-hand side, Stargate dropping down in the main base. And yeah, I mean, we're now starting to see the tech choices. Creator will expand. I'm intrigued to see what the Twilight Council does from DnS. Does he just throw down a Dark Shrine? Go on, do it. Yeah! I like it. I like it. Okay, so we are going to see the Dark Shrine coming down against the Stargate. This can be extremely successful, as we see in the middle of the map, though. Stalker lost from DnS, very nearly a second. Ooh, does take a little bit more damage here. He'll turn and fight, and he gets 1 Stalker now for free. I mean, I don't think he should turn and fight. I think it was better for him to keep 3 Stalkers alive, or somewhere at that number. Moving forwards now, obviously, he has the probe there to build a Nexus, and he actually will build it. The Creator doesn't see it. Creator's starting up with a Phoenix right now. This Phoenix needs to get across the map. If these Phoenix don't go across the map, he's not going to see the Dark Shrine. If he doesn't see the Dark Shrine, he won't build a Robo, he won't build an Oracle. Then he is in some trouble. Another Stalker warps in aggressively, and this aggressive pylon is going to be very interesting. A recall home from these Stalkers of Creator. I really think it's going to be some trouble right now. I really think there's going to be a little bit of trouble right now. You're going to see these Stalkers continue to pressure. And again, in a scenario like this, you don't think about detection, right? Because you're like, oh god, he's attacking me with Stalkers, I need to get ready to defend. But DTs are about to start warping in, and that's going to be a game ender because, oh, I mean, right now, Korea's probably thinking, aha, got you, Phoenix, ha ha ha. Then 2 DTs warp in, they go into the main, they unpower the Stargate, and this is game over, more or less. Unless he cancels the DT warp in. That would be huge. The DTs are just going to get there 1 and 2. But now he might actually see the DT, so he could warp in the Sentry or start the Oracle a lot faster. And this becomes a much different scenario now. Shield Battery will block the main base. Oh, I guess he can kill the Shield Battery in 2 swipes. So he continues to move in here. There's 1 DT, and Raider just types out GG. Wow. I guess because he's not going to have detection at home and across the map. I kind of feel like you can maybe... I guess... Alright, let's do this. Let's jump in. As we do have a 2-2 scoreline here. And this is going to be the decided map. To the bottom right of Acid Plant, our red Protoss player is DnS. Top left hand side of the blue Protoss is Creator. So setting up here, game number 5. This is what it all comes down to. Just as this is happening, we do have an aggressive attack from Nurcho against Keen. And as you can see, he's in the third base a little bit, kind of microing back and forth. His army supply is double, and I think that's actually very good for fighting against Cyclones. He's going to come in with a flank of Roaches. These Cyclones can't even just kite away. It looks as though Nurcho is probably going to be able to take this down. He's casting on the picture-in-picture here for a moment or two. Oh, his army's actually going to get cleaned up, maybe, towards the very end of this, but he's done some serious damage. He's kept the worker count low. The Cyclone count's obviously been heavily hurt. And a little bit of burrow play to try and actually get on top of another Cyclone or 2 at the end. More Roaches keep streaming in as well. It looks as though Nurture, actually on his point of view, which is why it's jumping around like that, but he's actually going to be able to pop up on a couple of sieging tanks. It looks as though Nurture is going to have what it takes to win out on Abiogenesis, and there it is, GG. Nurture is going to take game number 3, and he moves through to the semi-finals against Euthermal in, well, the very near future. Creator and DnS here are currently 2-2. Alright, so let's see what happens here as we go into this and see what the PvP is going to bring us. Nice for the TVZ to wrap up in the first couple of minutes, so we don't have to just watch these 2 gateways and Cybernetics core, etc. build up. So we are going to be having the Sentry and a Stalker coming out from each player at the moment. So Sentry Stalker from each side currently. And we are just going to be seeing the a little bit of warping action continuing on all around. Not much going on right now. Guys, I know a lot of you wanted to see the TVZ in full, but again, there's a reason we did it like this. Nurture wasn't here for a long time, so that series started late, and we don't want to keep the day going too long here. So the whole idea is to play 2 matches at the same time as other matches are going on. And obviously we prioritize the semi-finals over one of the quarter-final matches, so I'm pretty sure you guys wanted to see the TVZ in full, but it doesn't make sense for us to do that. It just doesn't add up in a way that works for us. Especially because that TVZ hadn't even started when we started this PvP, so we had to cast the PvP initially, and I'm not a fan of changing series halfway through, so... Anyways, we are kicking off into the Stargate versus Stargate action once again here in game number 5. So, 5th game of the PvP, the last mirror matchup map of the day. We do just have the... well, a couple of Stalkers on the way out. We're going to see the Stargate here from DnS and Creator finishing. And should just be Phoenix each, right? Oh, DnS makes an Oracle. That's not going to be good for him. That's not going to be good for DnS at all right now. So, this is going to be a bit of a painful startup from DnS. He tries to scout with the probe, but he sees nothing. The 2 Stalkers shut him down. And this hallucination now coming through the center of the map towards the upper left-hand side. Hallucinations cross each other by in the center. I'm just going to be seeing that Robo Facility of Creator starting up as well. So Robo Facility coming through. These 2 gateways set up on the high ground. And we are going to be having the 2 Stalkers continuing to poke their way through this pylon on the upper right. of aggression here from Creator at the front. As the Oracle is out, it's actually just sat back at home, not doing anything. He's now starting up Phoenix production, a much faster second Stargate. I guess because he's like, oh, look at me, I'm not going, Stargate, and so Creator's already transitioning away. This actually kind of works out really well, because now the Oracle might be able to sneak around and do some damage if the Phoenix on the map, and he's already got a second Stargate, so he's actually going to be in the lead in Phoenix count in the near future. So that's going to change up very soon. As we are just going to be seeing the Phoenix continuing to gather up on this right hand side, and we are going to be having a couple of these extra Phoenix obviously from Creator. Maybe looking to try and dive in and do something before the Phoenix kind of DNS gets too high himself. Stalker to the left is actually going to find those Phoenix coming in. There's a couple of units here defensively to poke away at those Phoenix. Actually gets damage done to the point where maybe he can win the Phoenix on Phoenix War. It's very close. I mean, the Phoenixes do so much damage because of their bonus damage against light. They do a lot of damage to each other, so the extra Phoenix actually goes a very long way. And obviously they're the mobile units as well, so they're the ones that will keep up and stay in the fight. As Creator sees the double Stargate... Oh, he doesn't see the double Stargate, so he only knows about one of them. I mean, Creator, he kept the Robo, but he isn't going to make use of it now. I mean, what can you actually do if there's Robo in this scenario? Well, really, not a lot. DnS is at the point where he's on the verge of catching up and then starting to take over in terms of the Phoenix numbers at the moment. Just going to be seeing the few Phoenix here just sit above the main base, and we are going to be seeing one of this probe just continuing along towards the bottom right hand side. Just going to be seeing the Stargate is going to be finishing in a few moments. But the Twilight Council from Creator, so I think Creator here just wants to go into Archons or maybe even DTs very quickly, but the hallucination of DnS will have seen that Twilight Council, so he gets that idea. Knowing that is important because it means he can change up his own gameplay. So yeah, I think Creator, realizing he's behind, is like, okay, let's throw down a Twilight. Maybe I can get Archons up or DTs, maybe I can harass my way into a better position now in the Phoenix count somehow in some way. It does mean he will only be sticking on 2 Stargates, so that does become an interesting little feature here. As DnS throws down the Robo, something he did in the last Phoenix versus Phoenix matchup as well to get an Observer out or so, but he did do it after the Fleet Beacon last time around. This time he does it before the Fleet Beacon, so that's going to be kind of interesting to see how it turns out here in the next couple moments. What's up, Trillgill, coming in for the $6.16, says thanks for streaming. Thank you so much for the $6, mate, do appreciate it. Can we get some love in the chat for Trillgill on the $6 donation? Thank you very much for supporting the stream and helping to make boosting this content continue to be a reality. Thank you so much, bro. Let's see some hearts in the chat. Now we are going to be having this game continuing though. A good map control from Creator. Lots of pylons out in the center. Relatively safe against the Phoenix army because there's not going to be much on the ground to fight them. This Oracle's still just sat here not really doing a lot. It'd be cool if the Oracle did sneak around though. I guess there's a shield battery in this space, but if he hit the natural somehow, boom, he could kill like 10 workers if the Phoenix are out of position. Obviously it's hard to find that though. Maybe it's just better to keep the Oracle alive for detection, that revelation or so. Forge on the way up, by the way. Twilight Council as well here from DnS. You haven't actually seen the usage of the Twilight Council from Creator, probably because he cancelled it. So Creator's going into an extra Stargate now, and I wonder if that's because all these mind games. I wonder if that's because DnS saw the Twilight Council, so he's like, okay, you're transitioning. So he starts to transition, when in reality Creator doesn't transition, and so he keeps on massing Phoenix, and that's how he wins the Phoenix War. It sounds absolutely stupid, doesn't it? But it very well could be what's going on here. No Fleet Beacon, so it's not going to be any Impulse Crystals from DnS, but it will be from Creator very soon, so it's actually very important for DnS to start figuring this out, because if he goes up against any Impulse Crystals without it for himself, he's going to be in some trouble. He's going to lift up Stalkers here, but he's going to lose the fight with the Phoenix if they come on in. I think DnS thinks he can maybe win that out, but he backs away now, realizing it's not happening. 15 to 17 Phoenix. Again, I mean, he's still building Phoenix as he gets his gateways up here. Charge, +1 attack. But the issue is, if you lose the Phoenix War in the sky, the Phoenix left over are just going to lift up every single one of those charge lots, and they're going to take them down for free. And it's only going to cost them energy, and so that's a very easy way to get shut down here. And DnS is almost just walking right on in towards the trap of Creator at the moment. +1, or a Forge at least from Creator, maybe just a shield upgrade again. Fleet Beacon now from DnS, but is it just too late? He did see the fleet beacon of his opponent, so he actually did get a scout off. That's very important for him. You see the third Stargate too, he did, so he actually does know his opponent's committing quite heavily in towards the Phoenix. So, what now? Well, DNS's way out of this might be with the Temple Archives to get some Archons up, because in the last game, you know, we had carriers and Archons, and DNS had no answer to the Archons at all. And that might be the scenario here as well. If you can get some Archons up, maybe it's just some high tempo for some feedbacks going into the fight, get a couple of Phoenix kills right away, then morph in Archons afterwards. It's a good combo to get a lot done, and it can be very successful. As there's the Oracle finally showing up. Yes, it will go down, but realize he's not going to get much more done. 4 work is a revelation. The Phoenix were nearby in the end, as we are going to see those Phoenix of Creator backing away now over the left-hand side. Crowtail, my man, coming in for the 44-month resub, our first ever subscriber on the channel. Crowtail, back once again. Dude, what is up? 44 months. Absolutely crazy. Give me some love in the chat for Crowtail on the 44-month resub. That is insane. Almost 4 years. Absolutely insane. It'll be 4 years in around August or September. That's when I got my sub button. September 2014. Never forget. I was in the build-up to the WardiTV, or the S2 Improved Team League Season 4 back then, which Crowtail was even a sponsor of. In case you're wondering just how much of an esports hero that guy is, for some reason, if the 44 months wasn't enough to convince you. Crazy. Alright, well, Zealot Stalkers and Immortals coming forward here, picking off a pylon already. And we are just going to have DNS continuing to... Well, I actually kind of like his position. You know, as he gets more Archons up, as he gets more of a ground army up, I think he can fight first. Yes, he's going to lose the Phoenix War, but maybe not too drastically if he has enough Archons in play. I'm not sure if he should get aggressive right now, though. Like, I'm not sure if he should be attacking immediately. I actually prefer it if DNS sort of sits back a bit more and gets up, like, you know, like really a lot more Archons. I think that would go a lot better for him. He does have Onion Pulse Crystals, so it's, at least in that sort of regard, it's going to be okay. Again, he should win out the, you know, the ground fight very easily, very quickly. But that's when the Phoenix come in afterwards. If the Phoenix then win out in the skies, that's when Creator can start lifting up. But they can't lift Archons, which is why the Archons are going to be so insanely powerful for DNS going into this fight. Let's see what happens right now. There's extra 3-eye Templar finishing up, a couple of Archons starting to morph. And you see the +1 flyer attack from Creator coming through as well. And we are going to see a little bit of an initial skirmish there. But they're back and forth. The Mothership coming along too. There is an Observer in this army. Already the Mothership taking a couple of shots. It will take a lot of shots. It'll go down even. Phoenix continue to fight each other. Numbers right now is 36 to 26. The Phoenix can definitely in favor of Creator, sorry. But DNS has those 4 Archons. And even a Void right now on the way up. I wonder if Creator's just thinking that he needs to do something against this sort of army. Archons in the front will get so much done from this. Another Archon morphing in. 39 to 24 Phoenix. You can see DNS is losing out in that way. These Phoenix are going to go and attack, but DNS is going to attack forward, so he can actually kill a base or two, even empower Stargates. Phoenix start to come back. Creator realized he's going to need this here. Again, the Archons alone will be able to fight against those Phoenix quite powerfully, because again, there's just no answer to the Archons from the Phoenix. Just going to be seeing these units pulling back a little bit here. DNS will continue forwards and towards the natural expansion. Another pylon going down. Another Phoenix going down. This war continues. 11 Phoenix difference right now. Void Ray is about to start popping out to join this fight. There's a lot of Stalkers, but I'm not sure how much Stalkers are really going to be able to join the fight either. If Zealots hold them back and Immortals get the damage done. Phoenix fighting against each other. Archons pushing in. They're going to be able to kill a Stargate or two here. That Void Ray goes down instantly. I'm not sure if that was really the right answer. The ground army of DNS is holding off the rest of the army right now as well. The Phoenix start to fight. The Immortals get lifted, but they get dropped back down. The Phoenix come in against each other once more. Still trying to fight here. They have to get rid of the Void Ray. The Void Ray is one of the issues because that is something that can kill the Archons. Phoenix reinforcing. It's 24 to 18 Phoenix. DNS has killed a lot of probes. And continuing to push on forwards. Looks as though he might be able to make this happen. Well, we are going to be seeing these units continue to push on forwards. We're going to see this cannon is getting picked away at, and this base is just in trouble. More Stalkers warp in. It's the Archon count that's so insanely powerful right now still. A couple of Archons starting to go down. DNS is reinforcing with Stalkers to help out in the skies. He knows that they will help out against the Phoenix. He picks off another reinforcing Phoenix. Now a Mothership has popped back out. I don't think DnS has an observer here, so he has to back away. What an engagement. That went on for multiple minutes, it feels like. Meanwhile, there's still a couple of units in the main base that were dealing damage. Pylons unpowered, more probes went down, and that's the big difference. The probe count is just non-existent almost from Creator. He's on 30 workers against 74, and that is going to be so painful. And that's why DnS can just afford to back away for a moment or two. Blink coming in for him, +2 attack coming in, and his transition out of the Phoenix play has worked out wonders. Creator didn't take advantage of it when he could have done. When he had the Phoenix count against very low Archon count, he didn't have the information which he needed. And that is going to be so very painful, as we're going to be seeing Archons, Phoenix, Stalkers and Zealots. This army is good enough to take this game. He just needs a little bit of detection to be safe against the Mothership, and DnS has got this in the bag. He'll be moving through to the Grand Finals, where he'll play the winner of Nurture and Euthermal, who are going to be playing each other next in our follow-up best-of-5 here to continue our way through the WardiTV Invitational number 3 playoffs. Archons turn around, and Assembler gets taken down, and again just sat here. DnS is sort of like, come at me, bro. I'm waiting for you. Creator wants to move on forwards as well. Archons start to deal a little bit of damage. One Phoenix goes down. I mean, it's just the Zealots that peel away to this side. Creator can't defend this base, so he's going to lose all the probes there. And 13 probes, that's like, you know, a quarter of his economy right now. That's not looking good for him in that regard. We do see the Phoenix finding themselves a Warping in Stalker. That's a nice catch, right? But now he knows the Phoenix are over there. He can dive on into the Mothership with the Phoenix of his own. And Mothership obviously being healed by a shield battery is staying alive for a little while. The Stalkers and the Archons are on the ground to back this up. And well, DnS is going to be cautious about it. He backs away. He actually loses this fight a little bit. Only until he warps in more Stalkers again. Army supplies were even for a moment, but DnS, he can fight and he can rebuild, and that's his power right now, because he has a bank to play with, because he's had the extra economy for the last few minutes now. I mean, if you look at the income tab, you can just see how it's gone heavily into DnS's favor. The Phoenix are across the map counter-attacking again, so DnS knows there's a chance for him to jump on in and to get something done about it. And again, those Phoenix can start lifting up Stalkers. They'll do a little bit of something with that. It's the Archons in the back that should really be joining in here. The Stalkers blink in, which actually allows the Archons to start doing the real damage. Creator, 16 minutes in, is not going to have anything left to fight with. The Phoenix just will not be able to do anything against the Archons. And that is GG. DnS moves through to the final.